So let's start, and again, welcome and thank you for joining me live. I'm really glad to see you. About me, who I am. My name is Saule Atantay. I'm from Almaty, Kazakhstan. I'm a transformational healer and a rapid results coach. I also call myself a soul mentor, and I love helping to awaken and free the genius in everyone from ancestral trauma, limiting beliefs, and everything that is standing in the way of expressing your genius. Also, in my past, I was a CFO and had overall 19 years experience in finance. I also love astrology, and I think I'm a everlasting student of it. I don't know if I can say that. And also, I'm a fan of law of attraction techniques and other universal laws at work. So I also help people with manifesting their goals. So enough about me. Let's talk about you. So who you are? I think you are a lady entrepreneur who is ambitious and result-oriented, who is curious and familiar with the principle of having inner critic, or maybe you even know her and can hear her voice maybe every day, and it might lead to some procrastination, inaction, perfectionism, or constantly changing ideas and strategies, or jumping from one project to another without finishing. And you are interested in success mindset. And what I'm talking about today in terms of success mindset is being guided by inner mentor. And also you want to develop yourself and grow as a person and a spiritual being as well. So, okay, thank you, Jasmine. It's you. How about others? Do you find yourself? Does it resonate with you? Hi, Lily. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that we are on the same page. So let's move on. What is, okay, Bearable, glad you're on the same page too. So what is inner critic? Oh, I'm sorry, I did something wrong. So what is inner critic? Yeah, our mind consists of conscious and subconscious parts. And some voices we hear in our head as an inner critic come from our emotional wounds from childhood. And it expresses itself in form of irrational emotional reactions to certain of our actions or decisions. And some expressions of inner critic are in the form of voices you hear, like a certain voice telling you what to do, what not to do. You are good, or you are bad, or you are not good enough, or you never do things right, things like this. And I love these images of a child who is closing her ears, and this nun. This nun symbolizes authority figure, because why we have these voices in our head? Because we had authority figures that we listened to, that we trusted, that were telling us what to do, what not to do, if we behaved right or not, and we still have these voices in our head. So here you see on the slide that I mentioned energy patterns. I will talk about it a bit later. So do you agree with this? So our mind has both conscious and subconscious parts, and what I'm trying to tell you is inner critic comes from our subconscious part that is based on our childhood wounds and expresses itself in emotional reaction type of form. So that leads to procrastination, perfectionism, inaction, etc. And the voices of our people, the authority figures that we had in our childhood or maybe in early years. So these voices express themselves in the form of voices in our head. Yeah, that's funny, Jasmine, that you went to a school headed by nuns. So this picture resonates with you as well. I don't know if they look like this lady. I actually put it just for fun. So kind of a polarized version of authority figures. Not everyone looked this way, but maybe, yeah, maybe the gesture is quite, indicative of authority figures. Yeah, glad most were nice. But yeah, we had different types of authority figures. For parents, maybe grandparents, maybe aunts, maybe uncles or teachers at school who were telling you something. And when you were vulnerable, open emotionally, and you trusted what they were saying, even if you didn't like it, even if you didn't want to listen to it, but you were open to trust it. That's why you accepted this information into your brain, and now their energy patterns sit there and still keep telling you what to do, even if you are grown up and can make your own decisions now. So how it works? I mentioned the conscious and subconscious parts of the brain, yes? So this is the principle of triune brain theory. And our human brain has three parts. One is neocortex, which is responsible for language, thought, thinking process, and conscious decisions. And it also gives reasons and rationalizes. So it's the right part on the picture, colored blue. This is neocortex, and it also has mirror neurons. Children learn with their mirror neurons through imitation of their parents. We even learn languages through imitation. So our mirror neurons catch certain patterns, behavioral patterns, the way our parents walk, the way they talk, the way they, everyday habits, everything. And we learn through copying, imitating this information, and then processing it. And in early years, I think up until 7 years old, child is 7 years old, we just copy and imitate and, change try and test different patterns we copied. At certain age, we choose one of the patterns or models or role models and stick to it. Sometimes it's a father's model, sometimes it's a mother's model. Whoever is more appealing to us, whomever's model we think that is more successful for survival or for having results or receiving love, etc. So other parts of brain are lizard brain or reptilian brain, which is, here it says fight or flight, but there are other instincts which express itself as a survival instinct. So it's fight or flight, sometimes hiding, even vomiting is an instinct for survival. And it works on autopilot. Some sources say that 60% of our decisions we make based on lizard brain or reptilian brain. And it has information of all our ancestors and their survival. When I say survival, it means their stories and their learnings and their patterns that help them to survive and stay alive. And they pass this information on to their next generations to teach them how to survive. Is it too much of an information, or are you with me? So I'll give an example to make it easier. For example, I'm coming from an ex-Soviet country, and there were a lot of people killed due to their religious views, etc. during the Soviet times, the revolution, communist revolution, etc. And a lot of people have the hiding instinct, because keeping your truth to yourself, not sharing your views, even trying to hide that you have some assets, was the survival mechanism, because it helped them to survive. Whoever didn't follow, they would be killed, actually. So I think a lot of people in my country right now have this pattern of not speaking their truth, hiding, or not talking openly about their religious views or spiritual views. So it's one of the examples, but there could be like plenty of examples, because you have thousands and thousands of ancestors, and all of this information of their survival history, survival stories, are stored in your lizard or reptilian brain. Also, there's a limbic brain or limbic system. That sort of a pattern can be in our families too, not speaking about the truth, says Raquel. Yeah, I think a lot of people might have it, because, you know, there was, our history is sad, yeah. And the limbic system or limbic brain, historically it comes from mammals. Sometimes it's called mammalian brain. So it's responsible for emotional reaction. And hi, Celeste, glad you joined. So our mammalian brain our limbic system is responsible for our emotional body, our emotional reactions, and processing and completing emotions. So mammals also have emotional reactions. I remember I was told by my grandma that when she had to leave her hometown and move to a city, she had to sell her cow, and one of her cows cried because she felt the sadness. So that was a big surprise for me, because we know all that home pets like dogs and cats are emotional and they express their emotions, but I never knew that cows can get emotional as well. So this brain, we also have it. Of course, we are human beings, we have emotions, we have emotional reactions. And also, based on these emotional reactions, we make decisions. That these decisions then become our mindset. So are you with me here? I will repeat, childhood decisions, especially childhood, based on emotional trauma, because in childhood we're mostly traumatized. We both have happy emotional states and also have a lot of trauma. It's our learning process. It's normal and we can't change it. So, but based on these emotions, we make our first decisions. And sometimes these childhood decisions lead us through our life. It's our subconscious brain, and it makes decisions for us. And also, there's a thing called selective comprehension. Have you heard about it? It's what we think about, we attract. For example, if you think about a yellow butterfly, you will start seeing yellow butterflies every day and all over the place. Or if you start thinking about the red car, maybe you don't see it every day, but you start thinking about it and then you start attracting it. So about our brain, whatever is stored there in our lizard brain and in our limbic system, we attract this, right? Of course, as I mentioned before, the inner critic consists of these two parts. Lizard brain, information coming from our ancestors about survival, basically what is safe, what is not, right? And then the limbic system, it's our own emotional experience summarized and with certain decisions we made. it's also a part of our inner critic. So when we have emotional reaction, there's also a decision behind it. Or when we have a certain, yeah, that's right, Jasmine. Inner critic is part of lizard and part of mammal brain combination. Okay, Bearable, we will wait for you. So I touched about neocortex and human brain part, and what we usually are taught to do is to think our life through, right? We are taught to think, we are taught to analyze, we are taught to make decisions based on reasons and rationalizing things, right? And sometimes we are trying to resolve things like having inner critic or certain emotional patterns we have with our brain, with our neocortex, and with the information we have there. And we think that through reading or learning or even imitation or changing our thoughts, we can achieve certain results. But inner critic is different. It doesn't come from your conscious neocortex human brain. It comes from lizard brain and mammal brain. So there is a conflict. For example, you as an adult human being and ambitious entrepreneur, you have decisions, you have goals, you have visions, and you, for example, have even income goals, right? You have big goals, but then your inner critic steps in and starts talking or starts showing you negative emotional reactions. And this creates inner conflict, right? So we hear a lot of times that there might be a conflict between mind and body or mind and soul. Our lizard brain or reptilian brain is more connected to and expresses itself through our body, and our mammalian brain or limbic system is connected to our emotions, our heart and soul, and our mind is more connected to neocortex and the conscious thoughts and thinking process and analyzing and rationalizing things, which is in our mind. When we try to resolve the inner critic or resolve the inner conflict caused by inner critic and our goals, with our mind, we can't achieve success. But there is a solution to this, and it's what we are talking about today. There's a thing called coherent state. Usually I think Buddhists talk about it, and I'm not sure who else, but a lot of people in personal development talk about it. It's achieving this balance and achieving this coherence and being on the same page between all three parts of you, between your mind, your soul, and body, being a whole, one self, right? And who is in the mentor then? It's your higher conscious self. So are we on the same page? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Hi, Josie. Yeah, Raquel, that's right. It's integration. And we want to achieve this integrated one whole self state to avoid this inner conflict, not avoid, to actually get rid of it altogether. Lily, I will talk about soul and higher conscious self a little later, okay? There is certain difference between two principles, and I will talk about it a bit later. Okay. So Raquel says, yes, when all our parts are integrated, then we are aligned to our inner mentor, our wisdom. I agree with you. That's what we want to achieve. So Celeste says, I'm busy making breakfast, preparing kids for school, reviewing homework. Yeah, busy morning, busy mom. Okay, yeah, as long as you are listening and as long as you are hearing what I'm saying, then that's okay, Celeste. So let's continue. So let's talk about solutions. How do we achieve this integration of different parts of ourselves into one whole self? We start from healing father's support. When I'm saying father's support, it's not only relationship between you and your father. It's also relationships of your father with his father, and so on and so forth, all your masculine line ancestors. Father's love and support is what is needed to become successful in career and business, or in terms of achieving certain social status and expressing yourself, taking certain level in the social circle. So we have certain relationship pattern with our father in our childhood. What we need as a child to grow from our father is his support and love and understanding and validation, especially in our activities. So this picture, actually, I love it because it's not only father loving his daughter, but he's helping her and taking part of the activity she's passionate about. So she's figure skating, and he seemed to be not that confident, but still he's supporting her and trying to share this experience with her. This is what is healthy father support, and also understanding the passions and aspiration of a child towards career or certain activities, and having conversation, etc. So it can be expressed differently, but as long as a child feels supported by his or her father. This is a resourceful state, because this is the resource we receive from our father. Lisa says, I haven't father's support from childhood. Yeah, think about now when I will be talking more about it, how it reflects now in your career and in your business maybe, or in your pursuits, or, you know, achieving your dreams or goals. Raquel says, what do you suggest can be done for an adult who has not had the support from their father? I will talk about it just now. Yeah, Jasmine says, that's why I lack self-confidence. I don't have a dad father figure. Yes, because energetically, what we receive from our father through his support is this self-confidence, self-respect, and boundaries. Our father teaches us to have boundaries, to respect ourselves, and respect our priorities, respect our goals, respect our aspirations and visions. And if we don't have it, we have some leakage of energy in this area, and we didn't have a role model for boundaries. We didn't have a role model for feeling confident, and confidence energetically comes from feeling supported. Father's support also comes in form of both financial and emotional support. And being this, you know, hard kind of solid rock, Celeste is asking, why is this confidence associated with the masculine role, or am I getting it wrong? Confidence in terms of survival, in terms of having a profession, for example, and being able to earn money, or, you know, become a breadwinner, things like this, because it's instinctual, right? Because in the past history, men were more responsible for, men were breadwinners, and women more were caretakers. That's why it's instinctual that we kind of expect and then need this role modeling from father's side more rather than from mother's side. So it's also our lizard brain decision, I think, or partly lizard, partly limbic system brain decision to get this information from father's side. Of course, if our mother is not confident, we will get this pattern as well, but we'll talk about mother figure on the next slide, but let's keep talking about the father figure. So if, for example, you had a father figure and he was supporting, or maybe he was there but you didn't feel supported by him, then you might feel some blockages in terms of self-confidence and self-respect and boundaries. And for example, if you had your father and he was supporting you, but your, for example, ancestors lost father, they had this trauma of losing father and trauma of losing father figure support, and they felt this trauma of losing confidence. It's also is blocking the flow of father support energy coming from family system, from your ancestors, and it's also making impact on the instincts that are active in your reptilian brain. Yeah, thank you, Celeste. Also, I came to this understanding not from the theory, but based on the work with more than 60 clients. So I'm seeing that sometimes people have a very strong female figure in their house. Their mother is a breadwinner and father is not. These people still lack this self-confidence inside. Even though they had this role model of a strong, confident, ambitious type of mother figure, because they expected and needed different things from mother than this role modeling self-confidence. I don't know how this radar kind of works for us as children, but our radar is tuned into role modeling self-confidence and boundaries from father side more than from the mother side. Yeah, I think it's based on history. So do you understand what I'm saying about healing father support? The work I do is healing this father support, healing the trauma of the loss of father support, and recovering this emotional energy flow and activating the information in your DNA from the ancestors who had father support. I'm answering, hi Annie. My children lost their father at 7. Both grandparents on the father's side lost their fathers in the war. Yeah, so there is a family pattern going on in your family. The same as my parents, both of them lost their fathers in the Second World War. And they had a pattern of fighting, being in the fighting mode all the time to achieve their goals. And that's why not having certain kind of self-confidence. And being too defensive because they didn't have healthy boundaries. So this is how it expresses. It might be being too shy or opposite, right? Being too fighting, too defensive, too aggressive. Yeah, it can be two different expressions of the same lack of resource. So yeah, Celeste says, got it. I just think that the world is changing, the future world. Yeah, my boys are exposed to very different gender roles in the household with myself and my husband, but I grew up with a very traditional setup at home in terms of roles. Okay, made me very angry towards men. Celeste, let's not be angry. Let's understand and accept, and everything can be healed. And can be recovered because we have all this information in our DNA. We have both masculine support information and confidence information in our DNA, and we have both mother's love information in our DNA, and it totally can be activated through healing your wounds towards this, because Basically, as a child, you had a need for father support to become self-confident and have boundaries. If you didn't get it, you just didn't have your needs met. And you have this block, and you didn't have enough of information to role model. Because we learn with our mirror neurons, as I talked before. Okay, Celeste says, oh yes, I have worked through it, so in a much happier place now. Yeah, I'm happy for you, Celeste, because we are human beings, we're powerful, and we still have a human brain that we can analyze things, understand things, and make decisions, but to support and become more integrated oneself without this inner conflict. Yeah, that's why I'm talking about healing the negative information or blockages that we have in subconscious of ourselves. So next is healing mother's love. This is a huge topic, I think, because relationships is what I think is a foundation of us as human beings. And we, even in business, I talk about relationships and emotional states, but it's the foundation also for success in social life and in business and in career as well, together with confidence of being able to earn money and having a shelter. So, of course, mother's love is what we need in our childhood. We just need it to survive. So it's basic survival instinct to need love. Not only food, not only, I don't know, changing clothes, not only all the care that our mothers gave us, but also love as an energy, as an understanding. Usually children see moms loving through her smile, through her approving smile, through her validations, through her positive encouragement and praise, etc. And if this resource was lacking, for example, you were a child, and then you needed love. So a certain day you needed a certain portion of love. For example, you are a 3-year toddler. You exhausted your energy through learning and playing, and then you need this resource of mother's love to continue and to recharge. And then mom, for example, was busy and overwhelmed and exhausted with your homework, or she came back from her job and she was stressed and tired and emotionally unavailable. You got traumatized that you didn't get the love you needed. And then you made the decision that I'm not good enough to receive this love. I'm not good enough to be validated. I'm not good enough for your love. I don't deserve it. And then you made the decision to deserve love through earning love, for example. I'm giving an example, but it can be expressed differently. Raquel says, also through the mother's body being available to the child. This is how the child feels nourished. Yes, I agree. Because children need this mother's touch and warmth and tender loving care. And also mother gives us this feeling of safety. And through breastfeeding and through talking and these exchanges, emotional exchanges, sharing certain emotional experiences, we think and we feel and we make decisions that we are supported. Also, mother love is the role model of our relationship with universe when we grow up. It means, when I say universe, it means the humanity, other people. So if we as children made a decision that we're not loved, we don't deserve love, we're not enough, we're not good enough, then it's our perception as an adult. As an adult, you are loved by your friends, your parents, your partner, your children, but there's a part of you, a child, that didn't receive love when he or she needed it. So this decision is still there in your limbic system, and it creates the reality for you. You don't feel loved even when you are loved. Did anyone experience this? When you knew you are loved, but you just didn't feel loved, and you didn't feel good enough anyway, even though everyone was telling you, you are great, you are loved, you are amazing. You just didn't feel it because there was a part of you, the energy of this child, trauma and decision made by this child, that you know you don't deserve it because mom didn't give it to you that day. So when we do receive mother's love, when we do feel loved by our mother, when we had enough of personal touch, connection, attention, and tender loving care, we feel worthy inside. We feel worthy of being validated, being loved. We are more open to human connections. We are more confident in terms of self-esteem. So if father's self-confidence brings us the confidence in terms of surviving, confidence that you will find food, you will find shelter, and you will find ways to take care of your children. Mother's love teaches us self-worth. It's more of a confidence that I will be loved if I talk. I will be loved if I express myself. I will be loved and accepted if I, go into this party and start talking to people. I will be loved. This confidence of being accepted, loved, and building connections and not being criticized or rejected. So if you felt rejected by your mom, this is the pattern you will have in your subconscious, that everywhere you go, you will be rejected. This is the fear of being rejected because you felt that you were rejected by your mom. It's not that she didn't want to love you. Maybe she was just stressed or something happened. She was emotionally unavailable and you felt rejected. Then you make this decision that you will be rejected everywhere. Lisa says, this is about me. I didn't feel love. Lisa, this can be healed and recovered, and you can become whole. You can feel self-worth and self-love. Self-love has another part. I will talk about it on the next slide. If you have questions about healing mother's love, let me know. Does this resonate with you? Of course, I didn't mention the ancestors. So if in your ancestral line someone lost their mother, it might bring to a trauma and the blockage of love flow coming through the ancestors, from the ancestors. And this love flow is broken and you don't feel this support, and it can become an energetic block in you. So you will feel more of the ancestors' trauma in your DNA rather than their love and self-worth. So it will become a generational pattern that will be passed on. So, but yeah, good news is we can heal it. We can totally heal it and activate the information in DNA from the ancestors who had this mother love, who felt supported, accepted by their family, who felt validated, who had this touch and shelter and, feeling safe and comfortable in mother's arms. So it totally can be healed. It totally can be recovered because it's natural for us, and there is such information in your DNA, in your brain. But the more active part might be for you, if you're struggling with inner critic, is the trauma of not having mother's love. So part of it might come from ancestors, which is information in the reptilian brain or lizard brain. A part of it is in the limbic system, your own experience with your own mom. Raquel says, I have an intergenerational pattern of spousal abuse in my maternal line. I think that's the feminine not being protected by the masculine. Yes, it's the trauma of being abused and also not receiving love. And the trauma itself in maternal line will also be passed on to next generation, because the abused, unhappy, desperate mom wasn't able to give love to her children, but her children would copy her pattern, energy pattern of trauma of being abused, and they will repeat this pattern. Raquel, it can be healed. It can be healed, and maybe it's not your conscious decision. I'm not going to confront or argue with you, but just from this information from today, think about maybe this decision was made based on the information coming from your reptilian brain rather than from your higher conscious self. Just reflect on this, okay? Okay, so my favorite parts: healing, self-love, and soul. And there was a question, I think from, I don't remember who asked this question. I'm sorry. When I'm talking a lot, I don't remember who asked this. I think Lily asked it about higher conscious self and soul. When I'm talking about soul and healing, self-love, and soul, I'm talking about healing both your love experiences in this life, the flows of sending love, giving love, and receiving love in relationships with your friends, with your partners during your lifetime, but also it's your soul experiences coming from past life. I'm not sure if everyone believes in past lives here. Let me know who does. It's part of the work I do, is healing the soul trauma coming from past lives. So when I talk about healing self-love and what is self-love for me in these terms? It's the relationship between your soul and between your personality, identity. Your identity is formed with these childhood experiences, mom's patterns, dad's patterns, patterns of other people that were surrounding you in your childhood, and years you were growing and building your personality. The decisions you made based on the emotional experiences in you, and these decisions were stored in the limbic system. So this is your identity and personality. Most part of it, okay, is based on the traumatic experiences, either yours or your mother, father, or your ancestors. But your soul also has past life experiences. Some are happy, some are negative. And some trauma wasn't completed by your soul in the past lives. What I'm trying to say is, just like in this life, you go through certain emotional experience and sometimes you suppress it, you don't complete, you don't forgive, you don't reflect, you don't analyze, you don't process. For example, certain anger or rebel or even grief that you didn't have time to process and complete, that was stuck in your body as a trauma. Just the same way in your past lives you had experiences, and maybe some of them you didn't complete, and that's the reason why you have the karmic ties, certain karmic situations that you have to go through again, because your soul has this information of not completing certain emotional experience. We have experiences to grow and to learn, but sometimes we don't kind of reap the harvest only, but we also bring all the fluff, all the pain of the experience itself that we don't need, and that's no longer serving us. So sometimes your soul still has this incomplete emotions, incomplete trauma from past lives, and it might be standing in the way between your identity and your soul. What I'm trying to say is that there's no love flow between your soul and your current life incarnation, because maybe your soul is resentful of life experience, of human experience, or has some spiritual angers. Yeah, there are such things like, for example, being angry at God, that you struggled too much, or you lost your loved ones, things like this. So yeah, this information is stored in your soul, and even if you don't believe in past life, maybe, but your soul still has some emotional experiences, and it has some certain patterns there as well. And this information might affect then the ability to love yourself, because there might be some self-resentment, feeling guilty, feeling responsible for some troubles, and then trying to punish it, beat yourself. Then that's why you can't kind of restore this love flow between your soul and your personality, identity, your body. And it also brings this inner conflict. So when we heal this, when we integrate all these parts together, we become one whole self, and there's no inner conflict of 3 hour different parts. So are we on the same page? How interesting is this for you, actually? So to answer the question about higher conscious self, it's more spiritual self that, in my understanding, is a part of huge oneness. Yes, huge ocean of oneness, of absolute energy that has higher consciousness. It's our higher potential, the highest and best self. But soul is a part that is going through different experiences from lifetime to lifetime, and not always these experiences are complete. There are some learnings, there are some, emotional trauma that we didn't release, didn't forgive. That's why we're still incarnating to learn and to go through. So, but our goal is to connect to our higher self and to complete all this trauma, to become our whole self. So this is kind of more of a spiritual. I'm sorry, I came to all these understandings more based on my own experience rather than from theory. So my language is quite simple, and I can't give you very detailed explanations. It's just the experiences I had with myself and with my clients. So Celeste says, our goal is to connect to our higher self. Yes, very nice. And I like simplicity. Don't apologize for that. Thank you for that, Celeste. Lily says, I think we're on the same page. Happy for that. Celeste says, thank you. Are you authentic? That's the most important thing. Thank you, Celeste. I'm glad we're all on the same page and there's understanding between us. Among us. English is my third language, I'm sorry. So now please type in the questions if you had. There was a lot of information. Thank you, Berbel. Says, yes, we're on the same page. I'm glad for that. So I'm sharing some positive feedback from the healing I did for my clients. One is from Natasha Corbin, who said that she had the ripple effect. It was only from one session that she had income flourished in a week, and she had also ripple effect to her clients. And I love this testimonial because I didn't have this experience before, but I think just didn't work with people who have this influence. And can you imagine that when you work on yourself, you heal your own trauma, you become more integrated, then people you work with are also having this ripple effect of positive vibe and having these good results, even income results. I love this testimonial. So also Max shared her testimonial. We cleared the self-sabotage for her, and she started working on her business and left behind the personal attachment to outcomes, and she started getting results. And she was on the starting phase of her business. It was also only from one session. Then Eloise shared that she loved the session together with me. We worked on abundance and clearing the abundance related blocks in her ancestry. And also she's sharing that she had more clarity of true abundance and what will help you in your mission and dreams. Yeah, and I'm happy that all of these ladies shared that they felt inspired, confident, and more self-worthy. So I shared information with you, but I also want to share the solution. I'm sharing this offer today, which is a package of 3 2-hour intensive healing sessions to recover your self-confidence, self-worth, self-respect, self-love. It includes follow-up calls. It's a necessary part of the process because integration takes 14 days for our brain to process between the healing session and the real shift. So the payment, the price is $498 US dollars for a package of 3, or you can pay as you go for each session, $197 US dollars per each session if you decide to go with 3 sessions. So today I'm offering also a bonus, a guided manifesting meditation. We will manifest together, and it's more powerful when we do it together. So I will give you support, I will give you the guidance in manifesting, and it's much more powerful when you do manifesting after the healing, because you have these resources and you kind of invest this newfound energy into manifesting, and all this positive vibe will manifest for new goals and results and achievements for you. Barbel says, yes, we are on the same page. I have also experienced the ripple effect when I have resolved healed trauma. Yes, that's true. It works. Josie says, thank you, Saule. I need to go. Thank you, Josie, for being here with me. Your perspective has been very interesting. Thank you. Yeah, and Josie, we need to chat sometimes next time, because I'm really interested in your work too. Yes. Annie says, thank you to everyone. I hope you like this information, Annie. I didn't see any comments from you. Any questions? Okay. So this is my information I wanted to share. We will finish the official part, but I'm staying here with you to answer your questions. Okay. Celeste, thank you too. I'm glad you joined. I'm glad you found time, even you were a busy mom in this morning. I'm glad it was interesting for you. Any questions? I will share the recording today. If you have questions, just hit reply and answer the email when I will send the recording. And yeah, there was a lot of information, and maybe you need time to process. If you don't have questions now, but you will have afterwards, just let me know. Yeah, that's a lot to process. I agree, Celeste. Also, when I will share the recording, you are welcome to share the recording with everyone who might benefit from this, because this information is universal. Everyone has moms and dads, right? Everyone has ancestors. Lily says, this has been really interesting. I want to listen again without the kids' distraction. Yeah, sometimes we need more quiet space to process the information. Pay it forward, says Celeste. Thank you, Celeste. Lisa says, thank you. Is it possible to listen to this webinar again? Lisa, I will have a recording. It will be sent to you today. You will listen to again. And if you have questions, let me know. I'm ready to open to answer in Russian as well. So how does the healing process work? Can you explain in more detail, says Barbel Fisher. So the healing modality I use is called metaphysical anatomy process. The author is Yvette Rose. Basically, we work with the white light energy, the healing energy that everyone has. but it's your own white light. I'm not sending anything to you. Celeste is asking, is that NLP? No, it's not NLP, but there is some acknowledging process. Basically, I will intuitively read the emotional trauma for you in your childhood, in your ancestors itself, etc. And we will acknowledge the difference between your identity and this emotional trauma. That's it, basically. And we will release and resolve this energy of the trauma with white light, because we can acknowledge the difference between our identity and trauma, because it's not us, it was our experience. But our subconscious thinks that, kind of identifies with the experience. That's the problem why we still hold on to so much trauma. Because we subconsciously identify with our emotional experiences. Yes, our subconscious is so powerful, and we need to learn to work with it and to integrate it better. Yeah, it's this, iceberg people show and talk about conscious and subconscious, because conscious part is very small and subconscious is like 2 parts of the brain. And yeah, sometimes it works against us, but it doesn't think that it's working against us. It thinks that it's helping us to be safe, to avoid pain, to avoid trouble, to avoid hindrances, etc., to avoid being killed. Yeah, it's not doing any bad to us, it just expresses itself like standing in our way, but the main goal for it is to survive and to avoid painful experiences. That's it. In this healing process, we acknowledge that we are different now. We grew up and we can be safe without the need to hide from pain, etc., etc. So what do Jasmine says, I need time to process the info. Very helpful. I'll send my questions via email or in FB groups. Thank you. Thank you, Jasmine. What do we do when we're ready to take over? Just email you. Yes, please email me or message me on Facebook. I will send the link to schedule the session and pay. It's through Acuity scheduling, so it's like one step for both. I'm always open to have a chat and answer your questions as well, but it's only after the August 17th. So I'm booking the sessions for the period of time after the August. So starting from August 8th, because I will be busy before. We're having a family vacation on a lake. It was planned in winter, in February, I think, so I couldn't cancel it. Thank you, Jasmine. Do you still have questions? So I think my time is off and we need to wrap up and close. And if you still, thank you, Jasmine. Yeah, I will enjoy my vacation. Thank you, everyone, for joining me live. I was really glad to see you live, and I was really happy to answer your questions. I just enjoyed talking about this with you. And it's a topic I can talk for hours and hours and hours. And as I mentioned, I'm open for quick chats if you have questions and you want answer one-on-one rather than through email, but just email me or message me on Facebook, and I'm open for that. Okay, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the recording as well today, later today, and bye-bye.